No masks, no chaos, just vanished money. This isn't your typical Hollywood heist. This is inspired by a true crime story about a crew that never fired a shot. Until everything fell apart, they were a team of five, each with a specific role, operating like a finely tuned machine. First, you had the planner, the mastermind who spent months studying bank layouts, security schedules, and traffic patterns. He was the ghost in the machine, never seen, always watching. Then the lookout, a man who could blend into any street corner, his eyes missing nothing, his phone a direct line to the crew. Inside, they had two men, the faces of the operation. They looked like regular customers, so normal you'd never give them a second glance. Finally, the driver, the escape artist, who knew the city's veins better than any map, ready to disappear into the flow of traffic at a moment's notice. Their preparation was meticulous, born from late nights spent in shadowy apartments, poring over blueprints and surveillance photos. They weren't just robbing banks. They were performing surgery, precise and silent. The first job was a masterpiece of subtlety. The two inside men walked into a downtown branch on a busy Tuesday afternoon. One approached a teller, engaging in what looked like a routine transaction, while the other moved to a different counter. There were no raised voices, no sudden movements, no alarms. They knew the security blind spots, the shift change times, and the teller protocols. They operated within the system, exploiting its predictability. To anyone watching, it was just another day at the bank. Minutes later, they walked out, carrying bags filled with cash, melting back into the lunchtime crowd. The lookout gave the all clear, and the driver pulled away from the curb, just another car in a long line of traffic. The bank wouldn't even realize they'd been hit for another hour. It was the perfect crime, executed without a single threat, and they did it again and again. A rapid succession of robberies unfolded across the city, then into neighboring states. Each one followed the same quiet, methodical pattern. Different banks, different days of the week, but always the same outcome. Money gone, no witnesses, no violence. The media started calling them the gentlemen bandits or the ghost crew law. Enforcement was stumped. The crew's precision was their greatest weapon. They left no fingerprints, no stray fibers, no clues for investigators to follow. With each successful heist, their legend grew, and so did their bankroll. The tension that once fueled their careful planning began to dissolve, replaced by a dangerous sense of invincibility. They were ghosts, untouchable and unseen. The money was piling up, and they were getting better, faster, and bolder with every score. Confidence is a slow poison. After months of flawless execution, the crew started to believe their own hype. They felt invincible, like they were playing a game they couldn't lose. The meticulous planning that had been their hallmark began to get sloppy. The planner spent less time on reconnaissance. The lookout started getting distracted, checking his phone for sports scores instead of watching for unmarked cars. They started ignoring the little things, the subtle warning signs they would have obsessed over just a few months prior. An odd car parked across the street for too long. A bank teller who seemed just a little too nervous, her eyes lingering on them for a second too long. These were the red flags they had trained themselves to spot, but now, blinded by success, they dismissed them as paranoia. Their discipline was eroding, replaced by arrogance. They were on top of the world, and they didn't see the long fall coming. The target was a suburban bank, their biggest one yet. It was supposed to be the final heist, the one that would set them up for life. But from the moment they entered, the rhythm was off. The usual calm efficiency was replaced by a rushed, nervous energy. The teller they approached was new, and their rehearsed routine didn't work on her. She hesitated. That split-second delay was all it took. Her hand moved beneath the counter, and a silent alarm was triggered. Outside, the lookout finally saw the flashing lights, but it was too late. He screamed into his phone, "Cops! Get out now!" Inside, chaos erupted. The crew abandoned their quiet exit strategy and sprinted for the door. Just as the first sirens began to wail in the distance, the driver, panicked, pulled into traffic. Swerving through cars and running red lights, the perfectly planned escape route devolved into a desperate, high-speed chase. Their silent, invisible method had shattered into a loud, frantic scramble for survival. The downfall was as swift as their rise was methodical. The chaotic escape left a trail of evidence a mile wide. Security cameras from street corners and traffic lights, which they had so carefully avoided before, captured clear images of their getaway car and its license plate. Investigators, who had been slowly connecting the dots between the Ghost Cruise heists for months, now had the break they needed. It didn't take long to trace the car back to the driver, and once he was in custody, the rest of the crew fell like dominoes, one by one. They were tracked down. Police raids on their homes and hideouts uncovered everything: bags of cash with serial numbers matching the stolen bills, burner phones filled with incriminating messages, and the blueprints for their next job. In the end, it wasn't some brilliant piece of forensic technology that stopped them. It was a single ignored warning, a moment of hesitation from a new employee that unraveled their entire empire. Looking back, their story is a classic tale of hubris. They weren't defeated by the police or by a sophisticated security system. They were defeated by themselves. Their greatest strength, their meticulous, silent precision, was abandoned in favor of arrogance. They stopped respecting the risk, and the risk finally caught up with them. The empty streets and ticking clocks that once symbolized their opportunity now serve as a reminder of their failure. They thought they could outsmart the system forever, but they forgot the most important rule. The game always has a way of balancing the score. For every action, there is a reaction, and for a crime built on silence. Their end was deafeningly loud. Thanks for watching. If you're fascinated by stories where the smallest mistake can change everything, be sure to follow and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of true crime.